Welcome to the Alliance for Home Health Quality and Innovations webinar on how to participate in a Twitter chat. My name is Teresa Lee, and I'm the Executive Director of the Alliance for Home Health Quality and Innovation. By way of background, the Alliance was founded in 2008 and is dedicated to the mission of leading and fostering research and education on the value home health care has to offer to patients and the entire U.S. healthcare system. Today's webinar is meant to acquaint all of you with Twitter, Twitter chats, and how to engage in this form of organized social media. Just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. First, our guest speaker from Schmidt Public Affairs will speak for about 15 minutes and will leave about 10 minutes towards the end to answer questions. Please note that this is a webinar and we control the slides on our end, so don't be surprised if you cannot flip ahead. Second, your lines will be on mute. You can submit questions to be answered during our Q&A period through the Fuse webinar software on your computers or other devices. You can send a question to the speaker to be answered in the Q&A period by sending a question to me, Teresa Lee. Finally, we will be recording this webinar so that others who were not able to participate live can view the training webinar. We will also be posting the recording to the Twitter chat page on the Alliance website under Resources. Now I'll turn this over to Grace Whiting, the Alliance's Director of Strategic Initiatives and Communications, to provide a brief introduction and introduce our guest speaker.
Thank you, Teresa. I'm excited to introduce the new Twitter chat series that the Alliance has begun, that will begin this month on July 23rd. Our inaugural Twitter chat is going to be co-hosted with the Partnership for Quality Home Healthcare, and that'll take place next Tuesday, July 23rd at 2 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern. So the exciting part is you can participate in real time and actually engage in conversation with other stakeholders about this exciting and important work that's going on in home health care and home-based care. Every month following next Tuesday, on the fourth Tuesday of the month, we'll have another Twitter chat, and the topics will change each month to reflect something that's happening in current events and issues of interest to the home care community. If you want more information about this, the best thing to do is to follow AHHQI on Twitter or to check out our blog, which you'll see the link on your presentation slide here. You can find updated information about the Twitter chat, a recap of what happened during the chat, and also information such as discussion questions or how to participate in case you're guiding someone else into this process. Finally, I'd like to mention that as this is a new project and we're trying to engage the community as much as possible, there are opportunities to co-host the monthly Twitter chat. So if you think that your organization has something important to say about home health, we would encourage you to partner with us so that we can get your message out to more audiences and engage patients and other policymakers in talking about what home health can offer and why it's valuable. I'd like to introduce our presenter from today. She is a member of the Schmidt Public Affairs team that assists the Alliance on a lot of our work, and she is a social media coordinator at Schmidt. Kristen Burke, her experience is in online communications and marketing, and prior to Kristen working in public affairs, she's also done a variety of writing, including having written for the Gainesville Sun newspaper. So we're very happy to have her here today to talk about Twitter and how to get involved in a Twitter chat.
Thanks for that introduction, Grace. So I thought just to get started, we could talk about what Twitter is and what it may mean for the healthcare industry. I know many of you may have children or younger siblings who have been on Twitter for years now, and you may think of it as something where people like to talk about what they eat for breakfast, but Twitter is quickly becoming something that is used by many industries and policymakers across the country, particularly in the healthcare spectrum. The thing that makes Twitter great is that it's real-time information, and you can find the latest stories, ideas, and opinions in the industries and the topics that you're interested in. And there are currently over 554 million people tweeting and about 135,000 joining every day. So while many people consider Facebook to be the largest social media network out there, Twitter is quickly catching up and has a very large base of people signing on every day. And the best part is it's free to join. All you'll need is an email address, which I'm sure most of you have, if not all of you, and you get started right away. So Twitter is shared in the form of very short messages, under 140 characters, and we call these tweets. So as I said, healthcare organizations and professionals and even the patients across the country and the world are taking their conversations online. You'll even see now that some surgeons will live tweet their surgeries as educational materials, or representatives will talk about healthcare issues that are interesting to them. In addition to those healthcare professionals, journalists and policymakers are using Twitter to listen to conversations that matter to them. So your favorite healthcare policy reporters may be listening to the tweets that your organization is sending out about the latest changes in your industry and the initiatives you're moving forward. And this is just a great way to distribute information and build a representation of your organization online. Twitter is entirely public, which makes it easily searched and a great way for people to find you and learn more about you, even if they've never heard of you before. So getting started with Twitter is very simple. Visit twitter.com to create your account, and you'll see on the homepage a box very similar to this one that says New to Twitter, and you can sign up. All you need is your name and an email address, and you'll create your password. So think of a short Twitter handle that describes you or describes the organization that you're working for, and Twitter will tell you if it's available and you can get started. Some people like to use funny names. Some people like to keep them as close to their organization's name as possible. As you know, the Alliance's Twitter handle is AHHQI, and we think that's a great description of the name, obviously. So once you've gotten started, you can upload a photo and write a description of yourself so people know what to expect from your tweets and what it is that you're doing here on Twitter. And you'll be able to follow the Alliance and any other accounts that interest you, whether it be in the healthcare spectrum or your favorite athletes or news networks in your area. You'll be able to get all of the real-time updates that interest you. And a great way to get started with Twitter is to follow those people and watch and learn. Twitter has a special language to it, and the easiest way to learn it is by following along to see how people communicate with each other. Let's go over a few of the terms that you'll see often on Twitter that may not be part of your current vocabulary. Twitter definitely has a special language to accommodate the short messages that you send out, and here are a few of the big ones that you'll notice. The @ symbol is crucial to being able to communicate with other people on Twitter. When you use the @ symbol in combination with someone's Twitter name, you are directly tagging them in the tweet. This allows you to have a public conversation with them, and there's a few ways you can do this. If you use the @ symbol and their name first, this will put you in direct contact with them and won't necessarily show up in other people's feeds unless they're searching for it. Or if you want to make a statement like, I'm joining the Twitter chat with AHHQI on Tuesday, the Alliance will be able to see that, and so will all of your followers. So this is a great way to let people know when you're talking about them and direct other people to the organizations you're talking about. RT, which is known as a retweet, is actually a direct quote of someone else's post. So if you were to see the Alliance send something out that you agreed with, like home health is a cost-effective option, you could retweet that post and it would show up on your feed, crediting the Alliance for the tweet and notifying them that you've shared it. This is a great way to, build your influence with others and share messages that you agree with, while still giving people credit for the messages they've sent out. Now, the symbol that will be most important for you when getting involved with the Twitter chat will be a hashtag. This looks just like a normal pound sign, but when used on Twitter, this makes your keyword searchable. So these are used in a variety of ways, and the way that we'll be using it is for the Twitter chat. When you use this hashtag in combination with the term Homehealthchat, any tweets you send will show up in the same search feed as all the tweets sent by other users participating in the chat. So someone who searches for Homehealthchat will be able to see your message in the context of the larger conversation. So what makes a Twitter chat different than just speaking to other organizations on Twitter on a daily basis? Well, for one, a chat is a prearranged time for a conversation that usually happens between multiple individuals or organizations and uses a specific hashtag to bring that conversation all together in one place. Generally, these are scheduled in advance, and they usually last for 1 hour. Sometimes people will hold their Twitter chats for a little while longer, but for the most part, we try to keep these to an hour so we can have a nice conversation and move on. These are usually organized by one or possibly a few hosts who serve as the moderators by choosing the questions that will be discussed and setting an overall theme. As Grace mentioned, the questions and the theme for this week's Twitter chat have been set, and you can find those on the Alliance blog. And as she mentioned, the Alliance, in addition to the Partnership for Quality Home Health, will be the host for this week's chat. So think of Twitter chats like a group discussion. It's a set time for people to sit down and talk with each other about a specific topic, share ideas and potentially resources that they have relating to these ideas. So Twitter chats are unique from conversations on other social media channels for a few reasons. The first one being that it's entirely public. Now, when you speak with people on Facebook, you're usually limiting that access to people that you're also friends with. So it will be difficult for people you don't know to see the conversations that you're having. On Twitter, anyone will be able to see these statements and search for them and look them up later. This makes it really easy to invite people that aren't already part of your network or you may not know directly. So if you know of people who are in the healthcare spectrum that might find this interesting, you can reach out to them and they can become a participant without you actually having to go through the process of becoming personally acquainted with them and bringing them in. Additionally, it's very fast-paced. Since Twitter is all sent in very short messages under 140 characters, the conversation moves very quickly. This allows for other individuals and the organizations participating to get a lot of information out in a very short period of time. And plus, you'll be able to retweet the post that you agree with. Retweeting is something that's pretty unique to Twitter. There are many ways you can share posts on other social networks, but the nature of a retweet will bring it back up again in the Twitter chat conversation. So if you saw that someone posted a tweet 5 minutes ago in the chat that you thought was really great and should be reiterated, you can retweet that and bring that back into the conversation again. So when it's time to join the discussion next Tuesday at 2 o'clock, you can go to Twitter and you can use the search box at the top of the page to enter the hashtag and you will see the chat in real time. These tweets will be as they're popping up, so you'll see your page will continue to refresh and you'll have the newest messages at the top of your feed. And if you would like for your tweets to show up in this field, all you have to do is include the designated hashtag, which in this case will be the Homehealthchat, and they will appear in this feed for anyone else who's searching to see. One way to help keep your questions and your answers clear is to respond to all the questions the Alliance sends out by using A1, A2, or A3 as the questions continue for it to be clear what exactly you're answering. This is a great way for other people to be sure what your statements are relating to and what the information you're sharing means to them. You can also reply to the other participants in the conversation to comment on their opinions or ask them questions if they've tweeted about something you've never heard of or you would like more of an explanation on. And you can also retweet their messages as we discussed if you agree with their information or you want to share it with your own network.
So this is Grace again. I wanted to talk a little bit as an example about the Elder Care Chat, which is a chat that the Alliance has been involved with now for a couple of months. And similar to the chat that we're going to host on home health, the Elder Care Chat is focused to issues about seniors related to healthcare and daily living. So this is a chat we participated in on seniors and elders who are using assisted living facilities. So you'll see in this first box at the very top of the page where the search bar is, the search for the hashtag Elder Care Chat, which will generate all the tweets that are related to the Elder Care Chat. Now what I've done here is I put it in sequential order so you can get an idea of what it would be like in a conversation. So Seniors for Living tweeted out a question, what myths are out there about this care setting? And they tagged it with the hashtag Elder Care Chat. Then the Alliance replied to Seniors for Living, and you can see that there's a reply because in the beginning of the tweet starts with Seniors for Living at Seniors for Living, which is their Twitter handle, which lets them know that you're replying to it. A2, which identifies that we're responding to question 2, our answer, and then the hashtag ElderCareChat. So again, anyone who's reading ElderCareChat, they can see our response to question 2. Then finally, what I've included here is a retweet. So we replied to the question from Seniors for Living, and then Seniors for Living thought that our answer was on point for the discussion, and so they retweeted it so that all of their followers could see what we had replied and to share that information as part of the conversation. So you'll see there's the retweet, a direct quote of what we said, and then they've added to that, yes, to indicate, their opinion about the tweet. Now, the second page is how it actually looks when it's happening in real time. So as tweets come out, the newest tweets are going to be on the top of your feed. So you'll see at the bottom here, we have Seniors for Living participating in the Elder Care Chat. And where that blue arrow is, that's question 7. So they're making a note here that the Twitter chat's coming to a close, but they're going to go ahead and ask question 7, and they ask the question. But right when they ask that question, everyone is still engaged in conversation, all under Elder Care Chat. So you'll see between that bottom blue arrow and the top, other bits and pieces of conversation related to the discussion on assisted living. So we have mobile help, retweeting at the Hebrew home. We have bot-in partners adding just some additional information to the conversation. We have Seniors for Living retweeting more conversation. We have an answer to question 5, and then at the top we have an answer to question 7. So even though it was several tweets between the question and the answer, people are still talking and carrying back and forth and also talking with each other. So it's something that when you're first engaged in it, like Kristen had mentioned, it's very fast-paced, but you'll see that there's a lot of different ways that you can respond. You can answer questions, you can reply to what other people are saying about the conversation, you can also ask your own questions, clarifying the conversation or adding additional considerations for the topic.
So after the chat occurs, most Twitter chats will post a recap of the important ideas and tweets that have been shared during that chat. And this Home Health Chat is no different. The Alliance will be posting a recap on their blog, which you can see on their website, ahhqi.org. And you'll be able to take time and review the links and share any information that maybe you didn't have a chance to review thoroughly, or maybe you've missed those tweets in the fast-paced environment of the real-time chat. So this will give you an opportunity to review that information in your own time, see if there's anything that you can take back home or to your facilities and use for yourself. And you can also go back and follow Twitter users that you engaged with during the chat. Maybe you can find yourself some new followers or some new people to follow that will share information throughout the month that you'll find to be interesting. And as with most Twitter chats, this will occur monthly. So you can mark your calendar for the next 4th Tuesday, and you'll be able to participate in the Twitter chat once again with us. So again, just in case you missed the information, our first Home Health Chat will be next Tuesday from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern, and that hashtag's Homehealthchat. And here's just a little recap of that information in case you need to write it down and save that for next week.
So we want to, on behalf of the Alliance, I want to thank Kristen Burke for her presentation and the excellent background on Twitter and how to engage in this space. If you have questions about the Home Health Chat, I'd encourage you to reach out to me, and my information is here. You can feel free to call me or email me, whatever feels most comfortable. What we'd like to do now is we'd like to open up the line in case there's anybody on the line that has questions about Twitter chat, or there's something that they'd like us to clarify that maybe we can help with because you want to engage but you're still not sure. And since we've got Kristen, the expert here, this is a great time to ask about whatever you've been wondering about Twitter chats.
Grace and Kristen, this is Teresa. I'll just kick us off with one question so that people have time to submit their questions through the chat box in the Fuse meeting window. I'm wondering if you could clarify for the audience what the difference is between, say a Twitter chat versus, I know that on LinkedIn sometimes they have discussion groups or discussion questions that they talk about, and maybe talk a little bit about what's the difference between Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and these other types of social media.
Sure. Well, one of the main differences between a Twitter chat and a LinkedIn discussion is the pace with which the conversation moves. Since the chat moves so quickly and people are sending their messages in such short form, they have to get right to the point of what it is that they'd like to say and make it very clear. With Facebook, most people have privacy settings so that their posts are not public. So even though you can now use hashtags on Facebook, you can't necessarily see all the people who are using those hashtags unless they've opened up their posts for everyone else to see. Twitter is very unique in that it's public for the most part. Some people do choose to make theirs private, but for the purpose of participating in a Twitter chat, everything is public. Anyone can see that, whether it's a reporter or somebody in another country or someone on the other side of the U.S. that wants to look up this information. So that makes Twitter chats very special for that reason.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that, the Alliance has participated on LinkedIn and some of these other groups, and, I think on some of the other groups, I think the fast-paced point is key here because it is a conversation where you're engaging very quickly and you're trading a lot of information. And when you think about something like a forum on LinkedIn or, a conversation on Facebook, this is something that you have more time to prepare and you have a lot more space to articulate what you're trying to say. Twitter is encouraging you to be brief and to be bright and to get your message out quickly. The other advantage is that it also quickly compiles a lot of different resources. So when people share resources, you're able to go, for example, to the hashtag Homehealthchat, and you can see a ton of different links related to home health, whereas in a forum or a more traditional type of online conversation, you might have to scroll through several long messages before you got to the information you were looking for. One of the questions that we got was, some organizations are still building up their communications and their online outreach, especially social media. And so the question for Kristen is, why should my organization participate in a Twitter chat?
Well, I think a Twitter chat, especially one run by an organization like the Alliance, is a great way to share information and build these resources. I know one of the main goals of the Alliance is to improve the healthcare delivery system and this whole care continuum, and a big part of that is bringing these organizations together to talk about the way they're doing things and where they see the industry moving in the future. I think in the sense of trying to stay ahead of the trends and understanding what's happening, not just with other organizations, but also players in the policy spectrum and also patients who are experiencing this care firsthand, Twitter chats are a great way to reach out to a larger audience and see what their experiences and what their opinions on these matters are. And it's a great way to build those resources and build those relationships with people that you may never have spoken to otherwise.
Thanks, Kristen. That's helpful. I think that really, that's one of the reasons that the Alliance is so excited about this project, is the opportunity to really, grow that online conversation about home health. I'm not seeing any other questions in our chat box. So if we have no more questions, I'd like to thank everybody for their time in participating today, and encourage you to join us next Tuesday at 2:00 p.m. Eastern with the hashtag Homehealthchat.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your participation today.